Why toxic leadership is fueling the global mental health crisis. A healthy workplace should support growth, not damage a person's spirit. But today, we live in a world where the office has become a silent battlefield as people brace themselves each morning not for work but for survival. Because far too often, what wounds us isn't the workload, it's the leadership. Section 1. The invisible wounds. Stress, burnout, micromanagement, gaslighting disguised as feedback, deadlines prioritized over dignity. We've normalized these things. We call them part of the hustle. But they're not. They're wounds, the emotional bruises people carry long after they clock out. Some don't leave their jobs. They escape them, and months later, they're still relearning how to breathe, how to sleep, how to believe in themselves again. Why? Because every mistake felt like a threat, and sometimes there wasn't even a mistake. Just jealousy, ego, or insecurity dressed up as correction. Every boundary was punished. Every success was met with silence or worse, resentment. This is not professionalism. This is psychological warfare disguised as employment. Section 2. The global cost. This isn't just about bad bosses or long hours. It's about a global mental health crisis. The World Health Organization predicts that by 2030, depression and anxiety will become the leading causes of illness worldwide. Let that sink in and ask yourself, how many of those cases begin in the workplace? How many people are breaking not because they're weak but because they were never allowed to be human? And what does it say about the world we're building, if people have to heal after earning a paycheck? Section 3. Productivity doesn't thrive in fear. Here's the irony. When people are emotionally wounded, they don't just suffer, productivity suffers too. Creativity dies in fear. Innovation shrinks under criticism. Engagement vanishes when people feel invisible. You can't build sustainable performance on a foundation of survival mode. You want high-performing teams? You don't need more pressure. You need more psychological safety. Encourage effort. Celebrate progress. Lead with care, not control. Section 4. The failure of fragile leadership. Compassion isn't weakness, it's wisdom. The best leaders don't just understand strategy, they understand people. They guide, they uplift, they don't just give direction, they give dignity. But what happens when leaders don't know how to handle their emotions? Poor anger management becomes a pattern. Explosive reactions, slamming doors, banging the table, yelling in meetings, and then blaming the team for not being tough enough. Section 5. How to break the cycle. So how do we stop the rising tide of mental health breakdowns? How do we stop turning offices into trauma centers? We begin with humanity, and we lead with awareness and courage. Not empty slogans, not ping-pong tables, but real, conscious behavior. Regulate before you react. Poor anger management is not passion. It's a leadership wound. Pause, breathe, respond, don't explode. Respect is non-negotiable. You don't get to belittle people just because you sign their paycheck. Compassion isn't coddling, it's clarity. Ask, what's blocking you? Not, what's wrong with you? Heal your wounds and your ego so you don't project them. Your team will only feel safe when you are stable inside. Create space, not fear. Empower people to speak, to try, to grow without walking on eggshells. Celebrate effort. Most people aren't failing, they're fading from never being appreciated. Build cultures that don't shame mistakes. Correction is growth, but without compassion, it becomes cruelty. And most of all, let people be human. Not robots, not numbers, not tools, but humans, with emotions, dreams, and so much potential. Section 6. The real definition of a healthy workplace. So let me ask you again, what defines a healthy workplace? Psychological safety, where people aren't afraid to speak, ask, or fail. Human dignity, where no one is ridiculed for being vulnerable. Mutual respect, not just in good times but intense ones. Because when people feel safe, they don't just stay, they shine. Productivity goes up, creativity comes alive, people contribute with passion, not fear. That's when a workplace becomes more than a job. It becomes a space where people can become. Because work shouldn't wound people. It should lift them. It should heal them. It should help them become more whole, not less. Let this be a wake-up call. To every leader who still thinks culture is about convenience, coffee, or control, it's not. It's about how people feel when you walk into the room, and how they feel when they walk away from the job. If they have to heal after working under you, you didn't lead. You wounded, but it's not too late. Leadership can evolve, culture can change, and people can recover. And it starts now. If this message stirred something in you, share it. Not just for awareness, but for accountability. Let's stop building burnout factories. Let's start building workplaces that heal. And together, let's contribute to a healthier world, for a better future for all. Remember, we are all responsible for this world in our own way. Some are born to lead, but with that comes a sacred trust. Leadership is not a license to control or harm, but an opportunity to serve with compassion, integrity, and kindness. By leading with good intentions, we not only uplift others, we also accumulate the positive energy, the good karma, that shapes our own path and the world's future.